what is best for Kentucky.
One of the most powerful figures in Kentucky politics, State House Speaker Jeff Hoover, stepped down from that post earlier this week after a newspaper reported that he settled a sexual harassment claim with a woman on his staff.
I ask the people of the Commonwealth to forgive me for my actions. I am truly sorry.
In Colorado, State House member Faith Winter is now accusing another legislator of making unwanted advances.
He used explicit and sexual language to describe different acts that we could do to each other to make each other happy. He said he would do things to me that my husband would not do.
The Harvey Weinstein scandal has emboldened victims to come forward nationwide, including in the ultimate boys' clubs, state capitals. California's legislature holds hearings on sexual harassment later this month after 140 women complained about a pervasive atmosphere of intimidation. Most of the nation's 7,300 state legislators, 75% of them are men, just 1,800 are women. In Illinois, state house members received sexual harassment awareness training this week. Similar training is coming in Rhode Island, and even in the U.S. Senate, which voted this week to require it for all senators and staff. In Iowa, the legislature is hiring a human resource manager after Kirsten Anderson, a former Republican staffer, filed a sexual harassment lawsuit and won $1.7 million.
These people in these positions of power are wielding their control in very inappropriate ways, and it has to stop.
A growing number of women say America's legislators are failing to abide by the laws they pass. Pete Williams, NBC News, Washington.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.